Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ole Walls House! Let's get fucking listening, baby!
Welcome to Ole Walls House. It's me. It's your man. It's your main man. It's Ole Walls. I'm back with you, ladies and gentlemen. Episode number 93 coming your way of Ole Walls House. So, as always, I just want to say thank you to everybody for watching, listening, hanging out. I appreciate you guys so much. So, thank you very much. Hope you're enjoying it. I'm having a blast. Hopefully, you are too. As always, if you guys could, please rate, review, comment, subscribe, share. Just let somebody know about Ole Walls House. I really appreciate that. It goes a long way. So thank you very much. I just want to, also say thank you to producer Kevy, as always, gets the show on the road for us. Fun show coming up. We got a number of guests here this week. First off, the Gordon brothers are going to talk some hockey with us. The Flyers have kicked off their season. Kind of what to expect, what to think. We touch on a couple other things, a little Phillies, a little Eagles, along the way. And we have an appearance from the roommate, making her first appearance on video. We did one of the Guess the Logos for the NHL. So that was fun as well to see her struggle on that. We were going to do the NFL, but she was too fucking good at it. It wouldn't have been any fun to laugh at her. So we just had to settle for this. Before we get to all that, though, let's do a quick ad. A little quick ad read, as they say. Liquid IV. It's not just hydration for people training for championships and marathons. Sometimes after a night of a little too many of these, you need to refuel a little bit. So proper functional hydration is essential. And Liquid IV is the #1 powered hydration brand in America. Their hydration product is the one product you're missing in your daily routine. Hydration multiplier is one product, as I misspoke. I like to use it first thing in the morning. Do it before I work out, everything, just get it going. My favorite part about it comes in very, very easy to use packs. Dump it in. 16 ounces of water with your Liquid IV. All the great flavors. One stick. Mix it with your water. Hydrates 2 times faster and more efficiently than water alone. It's better than, it's got 3 times the electrolytes of sports drinks. 5 essential vitamins, B3, B5, B6, B12, and vitamin C. Non-GMO, free from gluten, soy, and dairy. So, you get all that good stuff going on. And Liquid IV's donating a bunch of water. 39 million servings to over 50-plus countries. So here's what you do. You want 20% off. You go to liquidiv.com, or you go to the link in the show notes. Get yourself 20% off by using promo code OWH. O for Ole, W for Walls, H for House. Get it done. 20% off, liquidiv.com, promo code OWH. Let's get to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, the Gordon brothers are back. Tman and Hman here with us. Troy and Hunter. I see one of us is going Tman, one of us is going real name over here, so we'll accommodate both there. Troy, Hunter, good to have you guys back. How are things? Big lot happening in your guys' Philly sports world. So how are we feeling about all this?
Yeah, it's good to be back. Finally gotten over, I think, the Ryder Cup defeat since the last time we were on.
Talk about that,
but we haven't talked any hockey really in a while. I think it was February, so looking forward to getting back in the swing. But obviously the Phillies are kind of front and center right now, so I'm sure we'll talk a bit about that too.
Yeah, we kind of punted on the back half of the hockey season last year. Sorry, cut you off, H-Man.
No, I said baseball's the talk of the town now.
You guys want to start there? Why don't we start with your Phillies? Well, we're kind of mentioning it. You guys, what do you guys think? Game 1 here in, what are we, about 50 minutes away? How you guys feeling? How you guys feeling about it?
Yeah, they're just a fucking team, man. They're fun to watch, and I think they're just so likable. Like, talking to my dad about it, and we were like, I feel like you could have someone over on the team for like dinner at your house, and you just like know them, and it'd just be like hanging out with one of the boys. Like, this team's just awesome to watch. They're a lot of fun. They're playing real good baseball. Like, it's cool that they have home field advantage. Obviously, you hear people talk about that it matters, and you see it on TV when you watch it, or if you've ever been there. Like, it's wild when you're there. So looking forward to it. It's fun watching your team go on a run, and it's been fun.
They're never out of it either. I mean, there's been a couple games. I mean, even the regular season, maybe down a couple runs, but they're just never out of games because they have all that hitting power. They got everyone top to bottom in that lineup pretty much can hit a home run. It's with the exception of a few people. But, whenever Schwarber's at the plate, Harper, those guys, it's like they're just never out of a game. It's great.
They are a very fun team to watch. Like you said, the hitting power. Like, you got Trey Turner, you got Harper, you got Schwarber. Like, it feels like, you want to, like, keep your eye on it. Like, you don't want to turn away. It's very enjoyable to watch. And even, like, that Alex Baum guy, he had some fucking blasts.
Mm-hmm.
Castellano was hitting bombs. Brandon Marsh has the sickest hair and beard combo in the league. So that's fun. Who do they got going tonight? Zach Wheeler tonight.
Wheels.
Okay.
And then Zach Gallen. So
he's pretty good, right?
Yeah, there's been some stuff coming out on him. I guess he's from Jersey. And I guess he grew up a Cowboys fan. So they like all these Philly accounts that I follow, they were just like, they're like, we got to let this guy have it tonight. So
away from the good notes of Philly, you guys got anything to say about your fucking Eagles yesterday costing me money because they can't beat the goddamn Jets?
Yeah, cost me money too. I was actually watching with my father-in-law, who's a Jets fan. So we were at their house, and
that sounds awful.
And he's been a Jet fan his entire life and was pretty crushed when Rodgers went out, obviously. But so he like doesn't wear Jet shit anymore because he's so down on the team. And he was talking yesterday. He's like, Eagles have never lost to the Jets, 12-0, blah blah blah. And then at the end of the game, he just had this shit-eating grin. He didn't even say anything. He just had the shit-eating grin. But yeah, it was fun to watch with him, obviously. But damn, they blew one. I mean, you're gonna lose a game now, like eventually, but. Jeez, to do it like that. And they have a tough schedule coming up, real tough.
Yeah, they have Miami next Sunday night. And,
that's
mix in a couple games against Dallas and San Fran and Buffalo. I mean, it's not an easy stretch for them here coming up.
Is that who they're playing, like, coming up?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have Miami, Hunter, you said what,
so they
Buffalo? They got to go to Seattle.
They play Miami, then they go to the Commanders. And they host the Cowboys, at the Chiefs, host the Bills, host the Niners, at Dallas, at Seattle. Jesus!
Yeah, I mean, if you come out of that 500, geez. Like, I don't know. That's why, I mean, to just kind of piss yesterday away. It's not good.
I mean, those are 8 games. Yeah, if they come out of that 500 is fantastic.
Yeah, but...
That's got to be the toughest stretch any team has in the schedule this year. Unless the Chiefs might have something pretty rough. Anytime you get like the number one schedule.
Yeah, once you win, you got the. Yeah, and like after the Eagles, they sucked for that 1 year, so then they got an easier schedule. Like,
playing the third and fourth place schedule, it lines up the year a whole lot better than having to play the number one schedules.
And the killer is that, like, all these games they play so many primetime games. It's like, there's a tough. Like, they're fun to watch, but geez, you get a Sunday night game after boozing all day, and it's like, just wake up like when game's over, and it's like, did they win?
Dude, tell me about it. I've done it for like Packers with Rodgers. Like, it's been my life for like the last 12 years. Like, this is the first time like that the Packers haven't been like darn near maxed out on their primetime games.
Yeah.
And it's fucking fantastic. Like, the game's on at, noon or 3 o'clock. It's fucking great. Yeah, you wait till 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock on the East Coast. I mean, shit, they don't start till like 8:30 on Sunday night. It's fucking midnight before you go to bed. And like I said, especially been boozing all day, you get to the end of the game, you're like, you wake up the next morning, you're like, fuck, what happened?
Well, yeah.
And that's the thing now with these baseball games, because, I mean, first pitch tonight's, I think, at 8:07 East.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, even pitch clock now in the playoffs with all the matchups and all this stuff, the games are still 3 hours plus. And then these ones you got back to back, so it's like, fuck, we got to do it again tomorrow.
Yeah, I saw somebody complaining. They're like, oh, we hate the 5 o'clock starts. I was like, I fucking love the 5 o'clock starts.
That was great.
The game gets over. You can like kind of wrap your fucking shit up and go to bed at a decent hour.
Yep.
Then it's
Yeah,
game gets over at 11 and you just limp it into work tomorrow morning. You're like, oh.
Especially if it was like a big win, and you're like kind of all hyped up. You're like, ooh, fucking celebratory beer too.
Yeah, well, someday we'll get to experience a playoff run, I think, in hockey together, but it's certainly not going to be this year if we want to get into the...
Yeah, let's dive into it. So we no high hopes for the Flyers again this year from you. It doesn't seem.
No, I mean, before you and I were chatting, so they currently have the second worst odds to win the Stanley Cup at plus 15,000. So I'm not sure if that's quite a safe bet. I'm not sure if you took that, Hunter. I know we like to mess around with futures, but that's something you're taking.
I did not. Absolutely not. I mean, who was the
worst,
NFL?
the Coyotes?
We got Montreal, Anaheim, San Jose, and Chicago at plus 20,000.
Okay.
The Coyotes are plus 10,000. So
wow.
maybe some value there.
That's sad. Fucking worse odds than the Coyotes.
Yeah, I mean, with regards to the Flyers, who was the NFL head coach there? They are who we thought they were.
Yeah.
The same situation here, like we know who this Flyers team is going to be, right there. But for the most part, they're a bunch of young kids. I think the average age of the team is 26. As far as veterans go, you have, Nick Delorier, Mark Stahl, and Sean Couturier and Cam Atkinson. And the latter of those two haven't played in over a full year. So if you're looking for guys who have playoff experience to lead the team, this isn't it. I know Couturier has been to the playoffs a handful of times, 3 or 4 times throughout his career. Atkinson has been there a couple times. But in terms of guys who have actually made a deep run into the playoffs, Mark Stahl has been the only one to do it. And he's sitting at 36 years old, I think. So he's going to be kind of like what Justin Braun was the past couple of years. They're going to make him as serviceable as they can and probably deal him at or before the deadline. I mean, that's what we're looking at with those veteran guys. I mean, there's just no way they're sticking around for the full year. I don't think. A lot of them are going to become trade pieces to keep building for the future around these group of young guys.
Yeah, but a lot has happened, I think, since the last time we talked. I think we were on the road with the squad back in February. I think it was the trade deadline, and the Flyers really kind of mucked that up. And, they got rid of Chuck Fletcher, brought in, Danny Briere as a GM, so kind of a younger guy. We grew up watching him in the 2010s when the Flyers were making
runs. Seems
like
a real change in attitude in the organization as a whole.
Well, yeah, it's the new era of orange, baby. But no, I mean, all of that's like, I don't know, and obviously you haven't been following as much as we have, but like, as there was a time where we didn't miss a game. Like I would blow off all sorts of shit to just watch the Flyers, and like in that over the past couple of years, that's kind of died with the team kind of being not as good on the ice, but also like. They did the whole gritty thing, and just the leadership changed, and just the feeling around the whole team has changed. And I think they have the right people in place now. Like Keith Jones is as passionate as you can get for someone you're looking to lead the franchise and do the right things and say the right things. And
he was the guy who was the announcer, right?
Yeah, he worked for NBC Sports for a while, but I think they have the right people in place, and like. If this type of thing can work, they would go down as, one of the great Philadelphia sports teams ever if they can get it done, which, people that I follow and, cover the team and are on the inside, they seem to think that, they have the right things in place, but, it's going to be a rough at least this year and probably next year before they're in any sort of serious playoff contention, I would say.
I was going to say, is there even like a hope that next year it's like, oh, they make a Cinderella run at the playoffs? Or
yeah,
is that, there's a lot going to happen between now and then, obviously, but.
Sure. I mean, maybe they squeak in next year. You never know. I mean, with half the conference makes the playoffs, right? You just have to
get around 500.
Yeah. Hockey 500, with all those
with all the
overtime
losses.
games, right?
Yeah, you were saying like how young they were. I just counted and I forgot. It was like 11 people on the team were born after 1999. Like 1999 was just a good number for me to pick here. And then there were like 6 or 7 born in the 2000s. Like this is like very young, which is I guess good because at points last year it almost there was like some age to the team. Like still around and it's like, "Oh man, this is a bad spot to be." Like we're bad and kind of old. Like that's a bad recipe. I mean, I'm an idiot when it comes to hockey, but that's a bad recipe in any sport. So at least it seems like, hey, maybe these aren't the guys, but it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, certainly this year they're going to let the kids play, and that's something that a lot of the fan base has been talking about for a couple of years. Just letting the guys that have been drafted earn a spot, so to speak, and just kind of get their chance at things. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of like guys that you've heard, like a lot of Owen Tippett this year, right? A lot of Cam York, like those guys are going to play a lot more like serious ice time than they had seen in the last year or so, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
What's the deal with Ryan Ellis? Is he back now, or
No,
is
he'll
he...
never play again.
Okay, I was gonna say I see him on the lineup, but then I remembered he wasn't on the active lineup the other day.
Yeah, and they're it's weird with him. They kind of tell you what's going on, but I mean, I think he's having trouble like everyday life with what he's going on. He's got back issues or hip issues, something like that. So yeah, he'll probably never play. Go down as one of the greatest Flyers ever. I think 2 goals, 2 games, or 2 games, 2 points or something. 4 points, 2 games. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Hell of
think
a stretch.
they did a stat on it. His points per game ranks him like first or second all time among all Flyers players. I mean, obviously he only played 4 games, but his points per game average was, I think, maybe the only person that beat him out was Lindros or something like that, or maybe Bobby Clark. But he was up there. It was kind of funny.
I mean, that's too bad. He's only 32. Just January
32.
of 91. So yeah, that's too bad to have shit end like that. But
I mean, they did get a couple guys back that they lost essentially all of last year, and then all of last year fully is Couturier and Atkinson. So I mean, there's at least some semblance of offense being provided between those two. Like, because I mean, there were stretches last year when these guys were on offense where you're like, Jesus Christ, you might be better off just dumping it down to the zone and just retreating back to defense because nothing good is happening when you guys have the puck in the zone, if you even can get it in the zone.
yeah, I mean, having Atkinson, he at least provides some like offensive spark, like you said. Your first year, I think, watching was when he came onto the scene with the Flyers and took off. In a promising way.
I think he had a great start to the year.
Yeah. So I mean, at least he'll provide some spark up there. Hopefully, score some goals. I don't know. What do you think, Hunter? Do you think he's a guy they look to move? I mean,
if you're a playoff contender, you're looking to add anyone who can add some sort of value to a team. So I mean, you look at the Flyers roster. I mean, the main guys to me that jump out are Couturier, Atkinson, and on the back end, Mark Stahl, even what's that guy, Sean Walker, right? They added him over the offseason. He's been in the league for 5 or 6 years. He's 28 years old, I think, something like that. Yeah, I mean, I think those are definitely the key pieces that you want to look to move if they have a good start to the year, especially. But I wouldn't say that anyone is off limits, but it also depends. I mean, I think Couturier might have a no trade clause in there, or at least
Couturier is under contract through 2029.
Yeah, I mean, with his injury history too, no one's going to want to pick up that contract unless there's some type of other deal that goes along with it, whether it's draft picks or. But I mean, the Flyers, they're not going to want to look to give away draft picks. So he's pretty much stuck.
Under contract through 2030.
Yeah, there you go, Chuck.
There's a little arrow that adds on to the end of that. Yeah, under contract till 2030. So what? 6 more years for a guy who's already 30 years old. Jesus.
And had 2 neck surgeries.
Yeah, Atkinson's under contract until the end of 2025. So, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, if he has a good start, someone would probably want him. Same goes with Travis Konechny. I don't know if he survives the year with him, as much as I like the guy. And as much as, a couple of years ago when he burst onto the scene, he looked like he was going to be like a staple of the franchise. But I would think those two guys would probably get moved in January, February and go to a playoff contender and hopefully can bring some things back. And they're especially Atkinson's at a weird age, right? He's 34. He doesn't really fit into the timeline of the team. So, and then when it comes down to Konechny, it depends on what they, I think, want to do with him. He's 26.
Yeah, 26.
So, I mean, if you line that up with, so we didn't even talk about Mishkov, their draft pick, the Ruski, as much as it will pain me. I don't care if the whole team was Russians. If they win a Stanley Cup, I don't really give a shit at this point in my life. But, I mean, he's not going to be here until 26, I think. Yeah, 26. So he's got 3 more years. So at that point, Konechny's 30 almost. I don't know how that fits in, but
Go
earlier,
over the deal with Mishkov and how all that works because he's playing in Russia. Like he has to finish out a contract over there, correct?
Yeah, I don't know the whole inner workings of it, but whatever kind of bullshit they have going on in the Russian leagues, I think he signed so young, right? And they probably offered him suitcases full of cash, among other things, I bet. But so he's under contract. So the only way he could come over here is if he like defects, right? And then he probably shouldn't ever really go back to Russia. So I don't know if he really wants to do that, but
yeah, the thing I'm reading says he still has
when he tried to do that.
Yeah, the thing I'm reading says he still has a 3-year contract with SKA St. Petersburg.
Yeah, and so the Russian equivalent to the NHL is the KHL, but yeah, he's supposed to be the real deal. I mean, he's only 18 years old now, but he's playing in the second best league in the world, and I see highlights and stuff of him, doing some things here and there. But yeah, it'll be interesting. They said that he's any other year without all the other geopolitical bullshit going on, he would be a top 2 pick probably, and he fell to the Flyers at 7. So be interesting. I mean, the Flyers have a superstar in the horizon, so it's something we haven't had in the last 10 years or so. So
I mean, the idea then is, so that's 2026 he's here.
Right.
So, I mean, the idea is get geared up around him, probably, right? So
correct.
I mean, that's
because he'll be seasoned as well, right? He'll be matured. He'll be 22 years old
22.
at that point. So he'll be like coming into his prime. And, obviously the Flyers will keep a very, tight look on him. They probably have guys over there in Russia and scouts and stuff that are meeting with him. So they'll kind of control, I think, a lot of his development. So, hopefully by the time he does come over here, he's kind of ready to go and they're got the rest of the team in place. And yeah, we're talking about a much better hockey team in Ole Walls 2026.
just a few years away. The future is bright. Right around the corner. 3 more years.
Yeah,
it's been saying that for like 10 years.
Well, they were a playoff team in 2020, right?
Yeah, but that was with the goofy COVID rule. Like they had the modified playoff format or whatever it was, and yeah, that was something else.
But right before the Rona hit, they were
the hottest team in the league.
Yeah, they were.
And then they were off for 3 months, like all the others, 3 or 4 months, like all the other sports, I'd imagine, right?
Yeah. So what was it? March, right around St. Patrick's Day, and then they came back end of July. So about
almost 4 months, yeah.
3.5, 4 months, yeah.
Any chance they deal Carter Hart? Do we think that's on the table? I mean, he's only got 1 more year. He's a restricted free agent next year, not unrestricted. So I'm not exactly sure on the hockey rules, but I mean, there's some sort of way to keep him for that year.
The goalie factory right now. They've got Carter Hart, Sam Ersson, Felix Sandstrom. I think they drafted another guy, or two more guys maybe. But there were rumors floating around over the summer over Hockey Canada investigation of a sexual assault from the World Junior team, Canada World Junior team, that supposedly there were, again, rumors just that he might have been involved in that. So a lot of talk was going through the fan base saying, whenever news would break about that investigation, they're like, oh, it's Carter Hart. He removed everything Flyers from his Instagram, all of his profile pictures and stuff. He changed them. He's going to get arrested or something like that. But, nothing's come of it. But
Yeah, that was a strange situation. I mean, news is going to come out, right? Like at some point on that whole Hockey Canada thing. So I don't know. I don't know. You can read into it as much as you want, but I mean, he's one of the guys that didn't explicitly come out and say he wasn't involved. So like, there's a lot of speculation there, and that's all it is speculation. But I don't know. I mean,
who knows? It could be a situation like Trevor Bauer was involved in, right? He didn't really say anything for 2 years, and all of a sudden he comes out after the courts, get everything sealed up, and they're like, "Hey," he goes, "Here's the real deal."
Way to bring the Q angle, Hunter.
Dude, I'm all about that Q.
We only bring H-Man on for the Q, and he's been disappointing us previously, so he finally brought the Q for us.
I think Carter Hart could get Dell. I mean, I kind of hope he does. I mean, does he really fit into the? I mean, he's also 25, right? So you give him 3 more years. He's 28, turning 29. Is that kind of?
Yeah, what's the age range on a goalie? Obviously, one of the more taxing positions because you're playing a lot.
Yeah, I mean, right now is his prime, right? Like the next probably 3 to 4 years is when you would think he should be his best. So, I mean,
I'd say you're like 42.
For his sake, and he's been on such bad teams, right? The Flyers have been bad defensively and like let up a lot of scoring chances, and are terrible in their own end up until like last year. So like, if you look at his numbers with the Flyers, right, and if you put him on a team that plays better in front of him, limits chances, lets up less shots, he looks like a much better goalie. So I feel like for his sake, I kind of hope they do get rid of him and see what the other guys for the Flyers have, and like you said, focus 4 years down the line.
And I guess it could all, like, if there's a team that's looking like a contender and their goalie gets hurt, I mean, that could change the trade value on them like a ton. Like if there's a team in the top 4 at either conference, and their starting goalie goes down with an injury, and they kind of got to platoon it the way through the rest of the way, like I would imagine his value goes up immensely. And maybe at that time you can gain a little stuff. What do the draft picks look like going forward? I think I'm looking at it. It looks like they've got a first rounder in all the next 3 years, and they've got 2 first rounders next year. One of which from the Panthers. That must have been from the Giroux deal.
Yes, yeah. One of them came back with Tippett. But yeah, I mean, if you solely look at the odds, people think the Flyers are going to be pretty far down at the bottom this year, right? So, probably top 3 next year, I would say. I don't know. I don't really follow the advanced scouting and things. There's not a name out there like Connor Bedard this year, but I mean, anytime you get a pick in the top 3, right, you have a chance of landing someone that's pretty damn good. So, I know obviously that's the plan for management, right? They don't expect this team to win a lot. So, it all comes down to hitting on that draft pick.
I mean, they've got the Blue Jackets second rounder in 2024 too. So, I mean, they're going to have 4 first round picks, and the Blue Jackets are supposed to be bad again this year, right?
Yeah, they shouldn't be very good. They'll be duking it out with the Flyers for last.
They probably should have 4 picks in the first, 40 to 50 picks. Worst case scenario, probably worst case scenario, best case scenario, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I guess that should be good. That should help.
Yeah, so like you said, next year they'll have 2 firsts and then a second. Yeah, I mean, I mean, hockey's such a crapshoot, right? It's not like college football where you're drafting these kids that are, have played on the big stage and you watch them every Saturday, right, for at least 2 years. You're talking about kids that are 18, and then very few of them make the jump immediately. The ones that do are very good, but it'll be interesting to see. You just got to hit those guys, and they haven't in the past.
So going back to the draft next year, you said they got that second round pick from Columbus. It's a conditional pick. So after the first round is complete of the 2024 draft, Columbus gets to choose whether that second round pick that they send to Philly is from the 2024 draft or the 2025 draft. So if Columbus sees someone in the second round that they want to take, they can decide, we're going to give you the 2025 pick instead of this year's pick.
Interesting. How's the, I think I'm on the right website.
That's not a cute angle
space. You sure? I don't know. That sounds pretty cute to me.
Friendly. Cat Friendly never lies.
Oh, I'm on Cat Friendly. There we go. All right. Is this for the next?
Cat Friendly.
Is this the next year?
Good plug.
I think we're going year. Is this saying next year they should have 19 million? Yeah. They should have 19 million in projected cap space. That seems good. I mean, top end contracts in the NHL are what? 10, 12 million? Like for your best guys?
Yeah, for your superstars.
I mean, what's the highest contract we got? 7.5. So, okay, so 19 million. That's you can wheel and deal with that.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus, they have nobody under contract when you start to get now to 2025, 2026. I mean, there's only 7 guys under contract at that point.
Yeah, and that's the way they want to keep it, right? So they're able to look at these young kids and, they'll evaluate them this year and be like, hey, is Bobby Brink part of it moving forward? Is Tyson Forster part of it moving forward? And if not, they, kind of start all over. I think it's a big year for Owen Tippett, too. They're going to decide whether they think he's part of it or not. So, I mean, that's going to be the interesting part to me about watching, right? It's not going to be, if they're winning or losing, because they're going to be doing quite a bit of losing, I think. It's just going to be, hopefully there's a few guys on this team who are part of it in 5 years when we're talking about them making a run at it. So
I was going to say, it's going to be like, who are we finding?
Right.
Because, I mean, you can write off names that, like, are just going to be gone. Like, Couturier, Cam Atkinson, Hathaway, Delorier. Like, those guys are all gone on the offensive side, right? Like, their age doesn't work. I mean, you pointed out, like, there's a certain age range that these guys are gone in the next year or two at the most.
Yeah,
They're
loners. I mean, Delorier is just going to be around for a couple more years and beat the snot out of anyone who tries to take a shot at one of the younger kids. That's his only purpose. He's not there to put up, 30, 40, 50 points. He's just there to be a nuisance and pretty much protect everyone else.
Anything we're missing? What is the rest of the NHL going to look like this year? The Bruins, they on the revenge trail? They're gonna fuck it up and blow it again? Like, what are we looking for in the rest of the league?
Hman?
I think it's going to be pretty much most of the same as we saw last year. I know the favorites, obviously Vegas, and I think Carolina to go back and make it. But Toronto is going to be another strong team this year. Boston again, kind of they're on the path. They're I think 2-0 to start the year, 2 or 3-0.
2-0 at the moment.
Yeah, I think that the top teams last year are going to continue to be on that trend this year. Edmonton, you look at Connor McJesus and Leon Draisaitl. Those guys are going to keep putting the puck in the net and putting up insane amounts of points. But I don't think their goaltending and defense is strong enough to get them a cup, to be honest with you. Goaltending, when it comes down to it in the Stanley Cup playoffs, goaltending will win you a championship. Edmonton doesn't have goaltending. They don't have the defense. McDavid can score 120 goals a year and put up 300 points, and it will not matter, I don't think.
What about this Connor Bedard kid?
A lot
I
of
mean, they put
pressure
up a wild stat on his first goal. They put up his goals, and then they put up Wayne Gretzky's goals. Like,
Yeah, I
that
don't
seems
understand why they're doing that. The kid is so young. They're putting a ton of pressure on him already, and he's scored one NHL goal. Like, give the kid a break. Let him do what he needs to do. If he wants to make a name for himself, whatever. But don't keep him in the spotlight like that, or else who knows what might happen. But he might be a bust. He might break his
he was
leg.
making
Never
the media
be good
rounds.
again.
He was on fucking Pat McAfee the other day.
Yeah. But if they're going to be showing someone to break Wayne Gretzky's scoring record, it should be Ovechkin. He's the closest one to it.
He's like closing in on it now, right?
Oh yeah, that's what I was
Like,
going to
that's
say.
going down, right?
He's got to have at least, I think, a 40-goal season this year and a 40-goal season next year, and he'll do it. I think he was within 80 or 90 or something like that. But he's close. I mean, and he's getting up there in age too. He's a year older than Crosby.
He's 70. He's 72 away.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to do it. That's going to be incredible to watch. Like I can't wait for I think it'll get to the point. Remember when like Barry Bonds was going for it, and like anytime you'd be on ESPN, it's like it cuts to it, right? So, yeah, I mean he's what did I say, 72?
72.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing.
And then he's at what are the games? 14.
1487 for Gretzky, 1348 for Ovechkin.
So yeah, he's got 139 games on Gretzky.
So I mean, almost 2 seasons.
Yeah, so that's a goal every other game if he plays.
You know what's fucking laughable? And I know like the Gretzky records are fucking hilarious. Ovechkin, has a great chance to pass him, and he's going to end up like 12 to 1,300 points less than him.
Yeah, it's insane.
Because what is it? He's got more assists. Yeah, he's got more assists than anybody else has points. Yep.
So
he has 42 more assists than Jaromir Jagr has points.
Yeah, that's insane.
So, Brent Gretzky played in the NHL. So him and Wayne Gretzky have the most points for a brothers duo in the league, and Brent Gretzky has 4 points.
Who's even next on that list?
I don't know, but that's a stat they'll throw out every once in a while if brothers are playing against each other, like the Stahl brothers or whatever like that. Like,
damn, dude! Now you see what could have been if only we had a shot.
You could have outscored one of the Gretzkys, maybe.
So yeah, I mean, if you
so
back to the goals thing. So Ovechkin has 822. The next closest active player is Crosby with 553.
Jesus.
And then Stamkos has 517. So yeah, Ovechkin.
Stamkos is up there in age, right? Like not super old, but
he's 30s, early 30s, I think. But yeah, Ovechkin will go down as the best pure goal scorer probably of all time.
Doesn't he just basically by the time when they get on offense, he just goes and stands in one spot essentially, on the right side, so he can just hit left-handed zingers in there.
He does quite a bit of that.
So I went to a game, Flyers Caps game, kind of on the whim with my parents a few years ago, a bunch of years ago. I was still in college, and they were on a power play. Ovechkin does his thing, right? They get it into the zone, they get it settled, and he literally hangs out right at the top of the left face-off circle, and he doesn't move. He might make small little circles and kind of just ever so slightly change his position, but he's literally there for the one-timer. That's it. And Washington was struggling to keep everything settled, and they couldn't get their power play set up. And he comes back to the bench. He gets on the bench. He's slamming his stick, looking at his players like, they were on a fucking power play, guys. Yeah. But I watched him for the entire power play, and he literally did not move. He kept his stick parallel. He was just waiting for that one-timer the entire time.
My man also drank a lot of fucking liquor out of the Stanley Cup the year they won.
Oh, yeah. He
I
like
mean,
set,
that may be a record too.
yeah, so that was what, 2018? I feel like that kind of set the standard as for like partying when you won a championship, right? Like he was in the fountain in DC just doing like snow angels and shit. He was going crazy. That was
Everyone
cool to see.
everyone remembers Oshie drinking the beer through his jersey, like putting it up over his head and drinking the beer over it.
Oh, TJ Oshie. When I always think of the fucking Olympics when they just kept running him back out there
Yeah, that was
in the
2014. That was
shootout.
electric.
I was listening to that on the radio. I was like going somewhere. I was like going to like Atlantic City, and I thought I was going to be able to watch the game, and it just kept going and kept going and kept going. I was like, "Fuck, I gotta leave." And I found it on my radio, and it was Sirius Radio, and I went through a tunnel at one point, and it was like TJ Oshie going in now. And then like I got to the other side of the tunnel, and I was like, "I made it!" And I was like, "Holy shit, this is fucking sweet."
Yeah, that was cool.
Anything else we need to cover with the Flyers? I mean, I feel like we kind of touched on it. It's kind of a simple situation. We're gonna suck. We're building for the future. There's some pieces maybe here. There's some pieces abroad, and a couple of years is what we're gearing up for.
If you're gonna bet on Flyers games, take the over.
Yeah, you think we're gonna give up some goals and maybe find some of our own to push it over?
Yeah,
I'm staying the fuck away from them and betting because I don't know. I still have a tough time, even though I know they're going to lose, want them to lose to kind of
To bet on the
boost the rebuild. I have a tough time betting on them to lose. Still inside want to see him win. The little kid fanboy is still in there. That makes me want to see him win. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some games this year. Hopefully they can show some brighter signs for the future, and I think we have some trust in Keith Jones and Danny B to kind of make the right moves and bring us back to relevance here. So,
well, that's good. It seems to be a positive outlook now, even though there's still shitty performances to come. Do you echo that, H-Man?
yeah. I mean, I think Danny Briere and Keith Jones will right the ship, and because when Chuck Fletcher was here, the organization as a whole kind of lost its identity. The Flyers used to be a feared team across the entire league. No one wanted to play them, and I think Danny Briere will kind of get them back to where they were during his playing days, back to relevancy.
It's a new era of orange. We can end there. New era of orange.
New era of orange.
Did you want to talk about Liv? Were you serious when you sent me that text?
No, except the one text I sent you on Saturday. I was like, could you imagine having to go the fuck over to Saudi right now to play golf?
Fuck that.
Those fucking idiots. I bet you they were just so happy to be over in Saudi Arabia playing fucking golf. Yeah. Dumbasses.
No world ranking points for them.
Yeah, I did so our boy Hunter Mahan. Welcome on the pod anytime, I think, for your sake.
I've sent you a fucking Instagram message, buddy. I think you're down with H-Man in the queue, but anytime.
So when I think it was Bryson tweeted out or X'd out, whatever, posted on X, that he was, the top 20 live guys should get exemptions into the majors, blah, blah, blah. Hunter Mahan was like, dude, you guys knew exactly what you were signing up for when you left, right? Don't try to walk it back now.
Yeah, that's why I have no sympathy for these guys. And it's like, what do you think the rest of golf was going to do? You set it out to make it your mission to fucking destroy the way golf works. What do you think everybody else is going to do? Just be like, yeah, fuck it all up and we'll just fucking cede to you guys. Of course they're going to fight back and try and fucking bury you guys.
Yeah, so I mean, you have the guys on the PGA Championship, right? If they've won, right, they can go, or if they've got the past exemptions. The Masters at this point, it's like if you've won, it's gonna get there, and then the U.S. Open, it's like if you want to play, fucking go qualify or something if you want.
Yeah, and I mean, Bryson still has exemptions to all the majors from his
Because he won in
U.S.
20?
Open. Yeah, 20. So he's still got a couple more years. Brooks is good now. And Brooks is bitching. He's like, well, they don't count the majors. It's like, Dude, there's a reason you guys got fucking boatloads of money to do this. It's like, because it's a fucking shitty situation.
Mm-hmm.
You have to hear everybody talk about how you're fucking taking blood money. And
this is basically them like admitting that no one gives a shit about what the fuck happens on the live tournaments.
Yeah.
Like
they're
sweet,
totally admitting that.
Sweet, you wanted a fucking Muni course in Chicago.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever looked at the bottom half of the live roster?
Oh, it's terrible.
I mean, fucking Pat Perez, Chase Koepka. Like, Chase Koepka was ranked like 1,200 in the world when they brought him on. And he's literally only there for one reason. To be on fucking his brother's team. And, like, that's the other thing. Like, you're supposed to tell me, they're like, oh, but now people can get relegated out of the league now. Like, they're like, oh, that's the new talking point. It's like, oh. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure if fucking Chase Koepka finishes dead last for the year, they're going to be like, see you, Chase. And fucking Brooks is going to be like, oh, you didn't fucking play good enough, bro. Yeah, sure. Yeah, Phil, you haven't finished in the top 20 in this fucking shit-ass league all year. See you later, pal.
Hey. Second at the Masters, though.
Oh, God. It's amazing how he fucking just dials it up every once in a while. Like the fucking year he won the fucking PGA, I don't think he finished inside the top 20 in any other tournament that year.
Yeah, he wasn't even a conversation for the Ryder Cup team. It's like, yeah, we can't take Phil. He just won a major, but fuck, we can't take Phil.
Yeah, he won not just a major, he won the PGA, like the fucking major of the group that runs the fucking organization.
Man. All right, well, we're getting close to first pitch here.
Yeah, we better get you boys out of here. Appreciate it. I'm on the bandwagon. Go Phillies. Red October. Here we go. Phillies hat. Let's go. I'll give you any parting thoughts you want to leave us with.
No, I'm just really excited. I think Philly's got a good team, and I think the vibes are good. I think we're gonna keep going deeper here. I'm excited. Can't wait for a hockey run eventually.
3-4 more years. We're getting close. H-Man?
Yeah, Phillies are looking good. Made their way through the Braves again. Shout out Jeff Sinovic. Way to go.
And everybody else in fucking Pennsylvania who's a Braves fan. God, that fucking pisses me off.
Do you want to run through just our friends that are like Braves fans?
No, I don't want to give them I don't want to give them the FaceTime. They don't deserve the recognition.
There's also a lot of people I know that are Braves and Cowboys fans.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
It's all right. I feel for them.
Well, all right, boys. We'll wrap this up. You guys can get over and catch first pitch. So, Tman, H-Man, good seeing you. Go Flyers. Go Phillies. Fuck your Eagles.
Go Birds.
Catch you later.
Okay, special segment. Since we are doing a little NHL talk this week, I was going to do the guess the NFL logos with the roommate back over here. First video appearance for you, right?
This is.
You need to speak up.
I'm sorry. Let me just get right in here. Is that better?
I don't know. I can't hear anything because I had to take my headphones off. So we were going to do the NFL logo quiz thing, but she was way too good at it, so we couldn't make fun of her at all. She got like 28 to 32. So since we were talking hockey with T-Man, we were going to do the hockey logo quiz guessing. So here we go. We're going to turn it over to her. We're going to share this screen. Maybe. Just perhaps. If it lets me. Woo! All right, finally let me. All right, I'm going to turn it over to her, and she's going to go here. We're gonna just look on here. You are up, roommate.
Okay. I'm clicking it. I'm okay.
You have to hit play quiz.
Oh, okay.
Then you just start typing.
Okay. I don't know. It kind of looks like,
You also have a 5-minute time limit here.
Shit. Okay. It looks like one of those, like the little, like the one of the Greek gods. I can't think of it. So let's go with go with the flying gods. Because the little wingy.
I think you have to hit enter when you do that.
Okay. I press enter.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's saying you're wrong.
Okay. I feel good that this is the Boston Bruins. Okay, I feel good.
So if you get it right, it'll just paste over.
Oh my god, it's like a shark, like a torpedo. Like a sharpedo.
Sharpedo? That was your answer? Sharpedo.
Yeah. What is that? That is nothing. This is not. It's the frisbee. That is not. It's nothing. Oh no, there's two with the maple leaves. No, I felt really. I was like, oh, I can get the maple
Your
leaves.
strategy's all fucked up. You only have 3.5 minutes left.
Okay, maple leaves. We're gonna just go dump.
That's not how you spell maple leaves.
What did I do? Go back.
That's not how you spell maple leaf. That's not how you spell leaves. Just put an F and an S.
Oh, this? I don't know. I'm gonna go avalanche. Yeah. Okay.
You're fucking flying. Problem is, you've only done 8 teams in the first 2 minutes.
Musicians. Okay. That looks devilly. Devils. Oh. Okay. Ooh, that's like a saber. It's a saber-toothed tiger, right? Is saber-tooth one word?
I think so.
Absolutely. It turns red. Does that mean I got it wrong?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's a penguin. I think there's a penguin. Okay, good.
2.5 minutes. You're halfway done.
That's me just because it's like flag color. What is that? What is that? Is that a fox? But no. Is it a wolf? Is there another wolf? I'm gonna go wolf. I feel like there's a wolf. Wolf. Those are wolves. Damn. The stars. Stars. Oh, really? That's their name? They're the stars? God. All right, we know the Flyers.
They used to be the North Stars.
The Bisons. Okay, I can do this. Is the Blackhawks. The Flames. Oh my God. What is that, a crown? So maybe Royals? There's a Royals in baseball. Guess not.
Minute 30. You got a lot left. You got to start moving.
The Seas. Okay. That's a knight. There's a couple things that could be the knights.
That
One of these
actually
has
looks
to be
nothing
right.
like what the name of the team
Shut
is.
up.
No, I'm saying it's
okay.
like the logo is awful.
What is that? What is that? What is that orange blob?
It's a hockey puck and a stick.
What is the orange?
You have a minute left and you have
How do you spell Tennessee? How do you spell Tennessee? I can't spell under pressure. It kind of looks like the state of Tennessee or Kentucky. What is that? What animal is that supposed to be? Is that like a cougar? No.
1 minute left. Gotta hurry.
Hurricane. Or whirlpool. Why would it be? What is
that
this?
was the hurricane, so you spelled it wrong.
God damn it. How do you spell hurricane?
Canes with an S.
We're getting that specific? That looks like a drop of period blood. The periods.
40
What
seconds.
is
35
this?
seconds.
The stars. I can't type fast enough. We're gonna go stars again. That looks like knights again. Cougars. The bolts, the lightning bolts.
Ooh.
Were they the lightning?
Yeah.
I can't spell that fast. Oh. This is like the Americans. I don't know. It looks very patriotic. Should not like the patriot. Oh my God, it's another little sharpedo. Sharks. Oh no. I didn't even get to them all.
You didn't finish.
How did we do? Well, we wouldn't have gotten any of these. The Red Wings. That's a duck?
I think it's a D, like a flying D, like a wing. You were on the right track with the Blues.
Okay, Leafs,
like
yeah. Avalanche, yeah. Blues, was I? Oh.
You said like flying.
Oh, it's the Blues.
You said like
Okay.
flying something.
It's the Predators. Rangers? Like, what does this even have to do with?
They took out like the New York Rangers. It says like New York across the top and Rangers through the blue line.
Well, but what is this symbol? I don't get it.
I don't know.
Oh, it's a coyote. Stars, Flyers, Buffalo, Sabre. Come on. Why does this website keep? How do you scroll?
I think the
Did I
website tweaked
accidentally?
out.
Did I click on an ad?
Did you do something?
I might have.
What did you do?
What didn't I do?
All right.
You just control the remote.
Yeah, you're
The
not very
remote,
good at
The
it.
mouse. Okay, Blackhawks. I got Flames. That's a dumb name. Oh, the Kings. I think I was close.
You said Royals. Not bad.
that was close. The Canadians. Well, that's a boring name. The Senators.
That's what I said. It's like a
The
terrible.
Senators.
It's a terrible thing.
That's a terrible name. It's a terrible logo. I didn't even know they had Senators in Canada. I'm learning new things here.
Well, somebody.
The
would prefer they
Islanders.
don't.
Oh,
'Cause they're
that's the island. Because I was like, what is that orange blob?
Yep.
Minnesota Wild. Well, I should have gotten that because we live near Minnesota. Hurricanes, the Oilers. Never woulda.
Oil, not
Oh.
period blood.
Washington Capitals. Knights.
I'm
I
surprised it
wasn't
didn't
specific
I'm
enough.
surprised it didn't give you that.
Oh, that's a Panther.
You were in the right
Lightning.
animal class.
Blue Jackets.
It's the Ohio flag.
What's a Canuck?
I have no idea. Hockey things.
Is that like a whale? A dolphin? A shark? What is that? We don't know.
It looks like a shark. I mean, it's out in the west. Vancouver's on the west coast of Canada, right?
Maybe that gives me whale vibes.
Maybe.
That gives me whale vibes.
Is it a killer
We're gonna
whale?
need to look into that. Winnipeg Jets, but why? What is this? Like, why are Jets important to them there? I have a lot of questions. What's a Kraken?
The Kraken, like the multi-armed beast.
I don't know.
Okay.
But like, what is like? I guess I know the S is for Seattle, but I just
Yeah, the Kraken. It's like the eye is right there.
okay.
You got 11 to 32. You did better than I thought you were going to do. I thought you were going to do bad.
I didn't feel good coming into this
I didn't either.
because I don't watch hockey.
The fact that you got like all the NFL ones was really disappointing to me when we started doing this.
I don't
this
know why
morning.
you're not proud. You should be proud. It's all thanks to you.
You're welcome.
Skills I never needed to have.
You got anything else before we let you go?
No, I'm good.
All right, people. On to the next thing. Okay, let's talk a little NFL. I'll try to keep this timely. We've been going it a while by this point here now. So, I think the theme from this week was the big dogs go down. Obviously, we still got the Cowboys and Chargers to go tonight. They're almost kicked off 7:04 on my time here as I'm doing this. But yeah, the big story, the two best teams in the NFC go down this week. The 49ers go down to the Browns, and Jim Schwartz owns Kyle Shanahan. Owns him. 8-1 against Kyle Shanahan offenses. Kyle Shanahan offenses are 1-8 against Jim Schwartz. However you want to say it. I want to say 8-1 because Jim Schwartz, I feel like, deserves a little love in this category. Has held Kyle Shanahan offenses to 15.8 points per game, 320 total yards per game, which is not like a small amount, but not a ton. And then a third down percentage of 28% and averaging 2 turnovers a game in 9 games as a head coach or an offensive coordinator. I mean, that's just domination. And I'll tell you what, it didn't look like that when the game started. I wish I knew this stat before I had the 49ers in a parlay. But here we are, alas. And, it felt like it was going to be business as usual. 49ers go right down the field. Christian McCaffrey scores on a nifty little play. And, they get up 10-0. And then all of a sudden, the wheels were coming off. And before, the injury started, there just nothing was happening. And, at halftime, it's 10-7. And then in the second half, the injuries show up. Christian McCaffrey gets hurt. Debo gets hurt. Brock Purdy pumpkin watch. We might be talking a little bit more about this now. I mean, that was a pumpkin-like performance. 12 of 27 for 125 yards and an interception. And the touchdown was that little flip to McCaffrey. Pumpkin watch on alert. On alert. I'm not gonna just go crazy just yet, but oofta. That said, Randy Gregory did have a nice day for the 49ers, but also penalties killed these guys late. And this isn't an original song. I stole this from Pat McAfee. I was watching this at lunch today. They miss a field goal at the end of this game to win the game. And, there's a lot of things here. It's like it's the argument that I kind of hate sometimes, but like if he makes that, everyone's like, "Ooh, they squeaked one out." You always got to squeak a couple out a year. And no injuries is the other thing. Like nobody knows. I don't think we've seen anything about McCaffrey's injury yet. But it's like, yeah, they make that field goal, and it's a kind of a different tone. Let's see, 49ers injury updates. Trent Williams also hurt his ankle. Both he and Debo had x-rays that came back negative. Oh, Debo got hurt in the first play of the game. He's day-to-day. Unsure. MRI results are waiting on it. We've seen those as of 2 hours ago. So, hey, they make the field goal, and there's a lot less discussion about them. They squeak one out, and hey, they got one out. Sometimes you gotta win these tough games. So, we'll see. But I mean, if those three guys are all injured, there's some question marks going forward, and I don't know that Brock Purdy, everyone thought was the greatest quarterback. I think everyone thought he's very good, myself included. I thought he was an upper half of the league. I didn't think he was a quarterback you build your team around, but I thought he was a very serviceable quarterback, and you'd probably only upgrade him for a handful of guys. But, if he doesn't have Debo and he doesn't have Christian McCaffrey and Trent Williams isn't there and, all these other things, there's some more question marks, and you'll have to see. The other great team that went down, the Eagles, the Jets, Jets. Take down the Eagles, hold them off after the Eagles go up 14-3. 14-3, early lead. And the Jets just plug away. The Jets are 500, right? Not mistake. Yeah, the Jets are 3-3. And this AFC East is as tough as we thought it was going to be. The Patriots stink. Let's get that out of the way. That was on the notes for later. The Patriots stink. Maybe the better half of that faction was Tom Brady, not Bill Belichick. But elsewhere, I mean, the Bills 4-2, Dolphins 5-1. Dolphins look great after going down 14-0 themselves. There was a man who plays for the New York Football Jets. He was tossing a football around on the field. He's walking without crutches. The one, the only Aaron Rodgers. Like, is this a fucking possibility? That he could be back and playing? If this team can, make themselves a playoff contender? If the season we're in today, they're in the hunt. There's way too many teams at 3-2, 3-3 to tell. I mean, so your 4 division winners are in, then you're looking for 3 more teams. So Steelers, Browns are 3-2. Colts, Texans are 3-3. Chargers could get to 3-2 tonight. Raiders are 3-3. God, there's a lot of depth in the AFC. A lot of depth. And Jets are 3-3. God, it's still a tough task. I did make a note that Zach Wilson, is he looking better? Is he improving? It's something we didn't think was going to happen. So, who knows? Bengals also get back to 500 this week after just a rough start to the year. Word on the street is Joe Burrow is healthy. And, are the Bengals back? I mean, granted, they beat the Cardinals as their last win. They did beat the Rams, pre-Cooper Kupp Rams. They lost to the Browns, which in hindsight, maybe not that bad of a loss. Also lost to the Ravens. Again, I don't think that's that bad of a loss, and that was a 1-score game. Getting crushed by the Titans was a bad look. But a good win over the Seahawks. A good win. So yeah, back to 500 for them. And again, all reports are that Joe Burrow is healthy for the first time. A win I don't know what to do with is the Detroit Lions. You know, a 20-6, a very convincing win over the Buccaneers. And I on my note I wrote statement win ? Question mark? Like it's beating the Baker Mayfield led Bucs a statement win. I mean, the Bucs have been playing some good ball. Baker's been playing all right, but like, is that something we're going to consider a statement win? And if you go back and you look at who the Lions have beat, like outside of the Chiefs in week 1, and I'm not into like asterisks because a win is a win in the NFL, but it was a little bit of a depleted Chiefs team, so there's no asterisk, but there's just things to keep in mind. I mean, they lost to the Seahawks, and then they've beat the Falcons, the Packers, who I think everyone that's watching this would agree fucking stink. The Panthers, who obviously stink, and then like the Bucs. Is that a good win? They head to the Ravens next week. I think we're going to find out a lot. Host the Raiders, nothing crazy there. Chargers, I think we're still learning. We're going to know more here in about 3 minutes. Their game starts. Bears, stink. Packers, stink. Saints, not good. Bears, stink. Broncos, stink. Vikings, not good. Cowboys, we'll be learning, but I think they're decent. Lions, stink. They've got like 2 tough games left. The 3 tough games. 3 like tougher games. The Ravens, the Chargers, and the Cowboys. And then they've got 5 games against teams who stink. 2 with the Bears, 2 with the Vikings, 1 with the Packers, 6 because there's the Broncos. And I don't think the Saints and the Raiders are that good either. Like the Lions, if they could steal a game from the Ravens, the Cowboys, then wasn't there one other team here? Or the Chargers. If they could steal a game of them, like they could legitimately go 14-3. I mean, for sure 12-5. Like 12-5 is in range. And like through all of this, I'm saying I don't know what we're going to know about them at the end of all this. I'm very confused about this team. Maybe they're the real deal. And maybe we'll find that out in the playoffs. I don't know. I just don't know. The Jags. I see them a little different than the Lions. I think we know a little bit more about them. They beat the Colts. Again, not like this isn't a statement win, but they start out 1-2. And, you know, they have a win over the Bills. Again, interesting scenario to keep in mind is that was London. They were there already. The Bills came over, so, you know, there was that. But, you know, they've stacked up some wins. They have losses to the Texans and the Chiefs. The Texans are 500 too, by the way, which is kind of tough to decipher. We're in this spot in the NFL season where we're starting to see, but we don't really know yet. I feel like you got to wait till like week 8, week 9, week 10. You start to see what injuries are happening. But yeah, so the Jags have, you know, a couple wins over the Colts, a win over the Falcons, and then a win over the Bills in London. So it's like they're 4-2. They're starting to stack up some wins. They've got a little bit tougher, you know, schedule coming their way. They got the Bengals and the 49ers coming up, along with the Ravens, the Bucs, which, again, we don't know who they are. But they get the Titans a couple times. They have the Texans. Again, they lost to them already. So, and they have the Panthers. So another very interesting team that just kind of stood out to me. I mentioned the Texans are back to 500. The Rams are back to 500. They've got Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua going. Stafford seems all right. So yeah, we're in this interesting point of the NFL season where we're trying to figure out what everything means. We have no fucking clue yet, I don't think. It's really funny. Cowboys and Chargers tonight. That's a fun game. I'm excited to watch it. I need to wrap this fucking thing up so I can go watch it. I mean, we talked about the AFC East. The NFC West, it seems like it's the Chiefs to win. The Chargers can maybe find their way in. The Raiders are the Brian Hoyer-led Raiders for, you know, the near future. The AFC North is one of the most interesting divisions in all of football. Probably the most interesting division. I mean, the Ravens, the Steelers have found a way to be 3-2, and I think they kind of stink. The Browns are performing with, Deshaun Watson out right now, and are the Bengals catching their stride? The catch is the Bengals have a minus 27 point differential. In that division, only bested by the Steelers, who are minus. Hang on, let me do some math here. I believe that's 31. No, that's 31. Minus 31 at 3-2. Jags are 4-2. Colts and Texans both 3-3. I think by the time the year end, the Jags start to work away with that division. Eagles 5-1 leading that division. Commanders 3-3. Giants 1-5. I could probably share this so you guys can see what I'm looking at here. All right, we'll pop that up on the screen there for you. Cowboys can make a little bit of a move here as well. You go to the NFC West. Again, the Rams, if the 49ers have injury issues, the 49ers have outscored their opponents, as you can see there, by almost 100 points at this point. That is wild. That's boat racing material right there. But the Seahawks, they had a good chance to win that game and didn't yesterday against the Bengals. Again, the Rams are healthy. The Cardinals, I think we all know, stink. The NFC North is terrible. And I just laid out the Lions' schedule. They could win. I think winning 14 games isn't out of the question for them, and I don't think that's asking too much. And then the NFC South, obviously the Panthers are terrible. Falcons, Saints, and Bucks, are these teams any good? That was a division that MJ and I talked about. We're this division's not very good, but it's going to be interesting, and I think it's living up to that hype. I think we said there were a couple divisions. I think we also said that the AFC North was going to be a very interesting division. I think we even said the AFC South would be an interesting division. I think we flipped the Texans and the Titans. I think the Titans are going to be by far the bottom, and the Colts and Texans are going to be kind of giving you a run. You can start to kind of pick things apart when you start looking at differentials at this point about, teams with winning records that maybe are getting banged up pretty bad in the hindsight. The Dolphins have given up a whole lot of points. That's a thing. The Patriots are getting doubled up. The Patriots are fucking terrible. That's terrible. All right. I think we've covered enough on the NFL. Well, I'm probably going to sit up and watch the Phillies game in the Monday Night Football, so we'll come back with a little something afterwards here. Well, it's all over in L.A. Stephen Gilmore with the interception to end it after a pass interference call is one of the things that leads to the Chargers' ability to tie it up. Excuse me. A muff punt, Gilmore PI leads to that touchdown. When the Chargers finally figure out how to score from inside the 10-yard line for the first time in 3 attempts. They finally get one in as Herbert finds Everett in the end zone on a beautiful little play, I will say. But the fact of the matter is the Cowboys get it done. They go down, they get the field goal, and they hold on. So, hey, there you go. A big win for the Dallas Cowboys. They go to 4-2, I believe, right? Make sure my math is correct here. I think that's correct. Tough loss for the Chargers, who were 2-2 coming into the day. Gonna make an uphill battle for them. Good win for the Cowboys, and it keeps them in the hunt in the NFC East. Elsewhere, Schwarber to start the game. Bryce Harper finishes out that first inning with another home run of his own, and then drives in another run later in the game. Hits us with the 31, blowing him out the candles. And the Phillies take game 1. The Rangers also take game 2 tonight as well. So the Rangers go up to "Can You Take Me Higher?" Rangers fueled by Creed. But yeah, the Phillies in another electric atmosphere at Citizens Bank Park. They're 5-0. 5-0 there now this year in the playoffs. maybe the best home field advantage in Major League Baseball in the playoffs in recent memory. I would have to double check that. I haven't been following playoff baseball too intently until the last couple of years here. But yeah, quite the night. Good sports night. Really enjoyed it. Oh, I saw one other thing. I have to dive back into golf because I saw this. Hang on, let me find it. Kyle Porter shared the Data Golf Top 20. And there weren't a lot of live guys in it. I think Cam Smith was the only one in the top 20. And he was getting roasted in the comments. And like all these people, like, oh, it's all bias against live. Like it literally doesn't have anything to do with bias. It's math, and that was his comment. So he tweeted out, "To everybody tagging me and mentioning me how crooked these rankings are. You're not arguing about the subjectivity of an organization or whether or not live is valid. You're simply yelling about math. Like that's one of the beautiful things about data golf. And hey, there are, externalities, intangibles to every sport, no matter what happens. Like sometimes dudes just show up when it matters. I mean, while we're talking about live in general here, Brooks Koepka's a thing to this. Like the dude had more major wins than PGA Tour wins at one point. He just showed up in the big events. Like that's always going to be a thing. But like golf especially, like you can just kind of boil things down to stats. And that's what data golf does. It's not like some, argument for or against live. It's just saying, like, here's what it is. And I'm sure I can't, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm like, part of the thing is like just amount of play has to factor into that, I would guess, but I don't know. But people just love to get fired up over this stuff. So I did see, and I forget where I'm going to put this. This should come after our conversation with Troy. And I kind of went off at the end and like, they won't ever, they said they're going to do relegation and they never get rid of Chase Koepka. Apparently he's in the bottom 4 right now or whatever the relegation is. I saw a graphic on it. Hey, maybe they actually will. Maybe they will. I doubt it. Maybe they will. So if they do, I will retract my previous statement about that they never will. But let's just wrap this thing up here. We'll continue on to the rest of the pod. But good night for the Phillies. Good night for the Rangers. And a good night for the Dallas Cowboys. Let's keep this thing rolling. All righty, let's talk some college football now. Tough one for Penn State this weekend. 63-0 win over UMass. Ooh, real tough contest. As you know, I have a deep hatred for games like that. So just glad we're through that one. That tough fucking matchup. But there's an actual matchup this week for Penn State. It's where the rubber meets the road. It's time. We got to know. It's Penn State, Ohio State, in Ohio State. I think I looked it up last time. I think the last time Penn State won a game in Ohio State was 2011. That year was really weird. I think it was post the Joe Pa stuff, and I believe Luke Fickell was coaching Ohio State that year as well, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't even count that year. Like that year doesn't even count. Yeah. That was the last year we beat them at all, was in 2000, other than 2016. Sorry. Last beat them in 2016 and that magical game that was. And then the time before that was 2011. Oof. Duh. So the real last time we beat them in Columbus is 2008. Let me see if I can find out. 2011. Yeah, 2011. Rivalry hit by scandal. It was after the Terrell Pryor and proper benefit stuff. So Tressel resigned. So 2011. That was the leaders and something else thing. Yeah, Luke Fickell was named interim coach after for the season after Tressel's resignation. And Tom Bradley was coaching Penn State after Joe Pa started 9 games into that year. Penn State was like undefeated until they lost to Nebraska, I think. I think it was at the Nebraska. I think it was at the first game after Joe Pa got fired, and they lost to Nebraska. So yeah, there's just been, year after year of disappointment with Ohio State. 1 point losses. 1 point losses in fucking football. 1 point losses in 17, which was the inside handoff from the goal line like 3 times year. They got up big in that game and blew that. Then a 1 point loss the next year in 2018. 2017, Penn State was ranked number 2. Next year, Penn State was ranked 9. Ohio State was 4. 2019, just, more of the same. Penn State ranked 8th. In Columbus, Ohio State ranked number 2. Can't get it done. It just never stops. It never stops. I don't know. I haven't seen enough of Ohio State. I don't know what to think about Penn State, honestly. Like, who have they played? Iowa? I mean, Iowa's Iowa's only loss, but like they can't fucking score. I mean, what is Iowa's record? Like, who's Iowa played? They're 24th in the country again. By the way, I think that was a big win. They were talking that Iowa beat Wisconsin, because if it does play out that Penn State loses in Ohio State, but beats Michigan, and then Michigan beats Ohio State, that would be all the home teams winning in those scenarios. It comes down to weird tiebreakers, and Iowa beating Wisconsin was beneficial to Penn State in some way. That's all I got for you. That's all I know. All right. So, Iowa. Let's look at Iowa's schedule. 24-14 win over Utah State. 20-13 win over Iowa State. 41-10 over Western Michigan. Lose to Penn State 31-0. 26-16 over Michigan State, 20-14 over Purdue, and then the 15-6 win in what was a game that I can only describe as awful from the little bit of what I saw. They beat Wisconsin, yes. So, I don't know. And I mean, what's the next best win? West Virginia? I mean, how is West Virginia? I don't even know that I've seen anything about West Virginia since. West Virginia is 4-2. They have they just lost to Houston this week. They did beat TCU, Texas Tech, and Pittsburgh, as well as a tough game against Duquesne. So I don't know, man. I'm not optimistic. History tells me there's no reason for me to be optimistic. I've been hearing this is a different Penn State team, but I don't know. Prove it. You want to be a different Penn State team? Go into Columbus and beat Ohio State. I mean, the last real time they did it was 2008. I remember watching that game. Went to a haunted house afterwards, I'm pretty sure. Terrell Pryor was sitting there with his hands in the head. I think Penn State went down and scored late with the backup quarterback who ended up going to like Delaware. What was his name? Now I got to know this. I can't remember his name. AQ Shipley was on that team. Derek Williams was still. Were all those receivers still around? They must have been. They lost to fucking at Iowa by 1 point. Their ability to lose games by 1 point is incredible. So McGloin was a freshman. It wasn't him. Daryl Clark was the starter. John Kelly? I thought it was somebody that was like he was like supposed to be like a quarterback prodigy. Is there a game summary? Here we go. Pat Devlin. That was what it was. Pat Devlin. Did he end up going to Delaware? Yep, he went to Delaware. I knew it. And he scored. Yep, a QB sneak from the goal line. Man, Navarro Bowman was on that team too. That's a good team. That was a good team. Who else was on that team? Derek Williams, Deion Butler. Derek Moy was a freshman. He was solid. Evan Royster. He never really turned out to be what I think they thought he was going to be. Well, okay. I've rambled on enough about past. So Penn State, fucking be somebody for once in your life. A team that was somebody was Washington State this weekend, despite trying to lose it by running inside handoffs out of shotgun on the goal line, or pretty close to the goal line, 4th and 1. Luckily, Oregon gave them another chance, went for it from their own 48. Maybe a touch aggressive. I mean, he was aggressive all game, Dan Lanning. I know a lot of people are up in arms about it. But hey, that's what happens sometimes. If you be aggressive, it comes back to get you. Oregon apparently outgained UW by 100 yards, had no turnovers. No turnovers. That's a tough loss. That is a tough loss, but a good win for the homestanding Washington Huskies. 4th down inside the 10-yard line twice, that's right. And then late in the fourth quarter from their own 48 with just over 2 minutes remaining on the clock. It's tough, though. You punt it away in that situation. They come down and score. You're getting ridiculed, too. Going for it on 4th down the goal line and not getting any points out of it. So then there were some good evening matchups. The home teams were dominant in that. Oregon State and North Carolina win. Good, solid conference wins for them. And then Notre Dame puts it on USC. Caleb Williams, not his finest hour. That'll happen, though. That'll happen. But let's talk about other people that had not their finest hour. NBC. I know you've heard me talk about this before. NBC stinks at Saturday Night Football coverage. That's dog shit, man. Like, awful. The announcers were terrible. I guess it was Jack Collinsworth, is Chris Collinsworth's son, and the one and only, the Clapper, Jason Garrett. They were terrible. It felt like they didn't want to fucking be there. And somehow they have this thing where they, like, mute the crowd. It sounds like the announcers are on a soundstage, and they've just kind of got, like, as a boxing fan, there's sometimes when there's, like, overseas matchups that aren't big enough to warrant sending, like, the announce team there. So the announce team, like, watches on TV and calls it. But then the audio is, like, all fucked up. Like, that's what it sounds like, but I'm, like, 99% sure they're there. And this is, like, Notre Dame's, like, big TV deal. Like, this is NBC's thing. How is it so bad? It's fucking terrible. It's a disgrace. A disgrace, I tell you. A disgrace. But yeah, in all honesty, like, it's annoying. Like, it's not the end of the world. But it sucks. Like, put out a better product. Like, seriously. Come on. Some good matchups this weekend, though. Obviously, Penn State, Ohio State kicks it off. These big Big Ten matchups. I believe the Michigan game with Penn State is already scheduled for 11. And I think Michigan, Ohio State's always at 11. They're at noon on the East Coast. So elsewhere, though, Tennessee heads to Alabama. That's a ranked matchup. Tennessee 17, Alabama's 11. So that's at 2:30. North Carolina is into the top 10, by the way. Just want to point that out. And then oddly, Duke and Florida State. Duke is a 16th ranked team in the country. Duke. There's a possibility that by the time Duke and North Carolina get together, their rankings for their football matchup are vastly better than their rankings for their basketball matchup. I think Duke basketball is going to be decent, but I think North Carolina stinks. But all nice and spread out. Duke's at 6:30. Alabama, Tennessee's early. And then you got Utah at USC in the 7 o'clock window, 8 o'clock for you folks on Eastern. So a couple of nice matchups again this week with, a game to lead the day off, not being a Penn State fan, but, if you're just looking as a football fan, that has serious national title implications to it. So looking forward to another good week of college football. So fun one this week, too. Time for some passing thoughts. So I've probably talked about the Phillies game. I plan on staying up here and watching that game and the football. But just a couple other thoughts on MLB playoffs. The Rangers win today as well. They're up 2-0 now in the ALCS over the cheating Astros. So good to see that. I've told you I'm all in on the Phillies. They've been so fun to watch. They took down the Braves. I love that. So 3-1 victory there. Rangers ran through the Orioles in a sweep. Diamondbacks sweep the Dodgers. The Astros beat the Twins. And now there's no teams left with more than 92 wins in the playoffs. And it's a very Interesting thing to think about. I got a thing here. I'm gonna find it, but it's interesting to think about. Does this? This was on 10/12, so that was what 4 days ago. It's like Thursday. Teams with 92 plus wins were 1-12. Teams with fewer than 92 were 12-1. So the Braves, and yeah, that didn't change. There was just one extra loss. So there's questions about the playoff system. I think you got to relax. I know having a week off in baseball is not the most ideal thing, but I think we need to relax and see what happens. Last year it was split evenly. It was 2 wild card teams and the 2 top 2 teams in each side. So, there's some discussions to be had about the format of the playoffs. It's tough to imagine the MLB walks us back. Like those wild card series, that is just free money to them. And, it's not like they let a lot of teams into the playoffs already. And the money those teams get from getting in the playoffs and the extra series and the extra TV money they probably get, like, I can't imagine these guys are walking that back. But, it's going to get discussed. I think maybe, pump the brakes, have discussions about this year, but, like, let a year or 2 more play out and see what happens. I think one thing that really needs to start getting discussed, automatic strike zones. The technology's there. Just do it. Like, and I watched a lot of baseball this year. Like, I watched 100 plus Cleveland games, I think. Maybe not 100, maybe 85, 90s. I watched a lot. It could be 100 plus. There are legitimately every night 2 to 3 pitches that are horrendous calls. And it's an impossible job. I don't know how they get it as close to right as they do, like, honestly. But why? There are people, and I have friends like this, and they're like, I posted in my group chat. I was like, why don't they have it? And they're like, the game is played by humans. It should be like, that's stupid. That's stupid. I disagree. Like, we have a chance to get it right every time, and we're not doing it. It makes no sense to me. Now, hey, maybe the logistics of it aren't there. Like, but I think they're doing it in the minors. You can't tell me they can't just hit it. The pitch comes in, there goes a buzz, and someone's here, strike ball, like, and you keep the guy there for the ump there behind the plate. But I don't know. It just seems like we're missing an opportunity to make something perfect and have it work all the time. And if the fucking shit malfunctions, you got the guy behind there. I don't know. What I do know about is the fucking Rangers. It's really no doubt they're up 2-0. They're fucking blasting Creed. Can you take me higher? Fucking Creed's leading them. Fucking Phillies are probably fucked if they make the World Series. Fucking the Rangers are going to be there. The Rangers are going to be there. No chance. No chance. Speaking of things, fucking the Phillies are up 2-0 already. Let's go. Speaking of no chance, things I thought had no chance. I thought Lexi Thompson had 0 chance of making the cut this weekend, and she put together a hell of a run and was inside the cut line and having one of the best days on the course at one point on Friday. It was like 4 under, and I think it was 2 or 3 under for the tournament, and was inside the cut line by a couple. Had a couple of whoopsies coming down the stretch on the par 3s. Finished one under on the weekend. Tom Kim ended up winning. God love that guy. The length of the par 3s just got her. Like, it finally showed up. Like, she's 240 yard and 260 yard par 3s. Like, got her a little bit. But that was a hell of a fucking showing by someone who's not really dominant on her own tour. And, someone I've been I was pretty critical of, that she couldn't answer a fucking question about flubbing a chip in a huge match in the Solheim Cup. But good on her for doing that. So yeah, we mentioned Liv won't get OWGR points. I gotta tackle this one. Like, this annoys me. There was a ruling against Trump from some judge that he had overvalued his Mar-a-Lago property. I think he valued it like $500 million. And this judge is like, nope, it's worth $18 million. And from what I understand, this lawsuit is saying that he he falsified records and defrauded the bank who gave him the loan by overvaluing his properties so that he could have collateral to get this loan. So there's some things at play that, from my understanding, if I'm wrong, I've looked into this, high level, but the loan was paid back. He's declared bankruptcy a number of times, but not this time. He paid this loan back. So the bank made money. If he paid the loan back, the bank made interest money off it. And I don't know where this narrative is that, like, when you get a loan from a bank, you get to set the terms. Maybe you can negotiate if you're you got a lot of business with the bank, you're very wealthy, and you're going to do a lot more business with them. But, like, banks aren't into the business of losing money. I know they fuck up from time to time, as we've seen multiple times in recent history with different scenarios. But, like, if I went to the bank and I was like, oh, I'd like a loan. My house is worth $2 million. They'd be like, fuck you. It is not. So, like, I don't get this idea that, like, Trump went to the bank and was like, hey, my place is worth fucking $500 million. And they're like, well, it's probably worth 18, but if you say so, Mr. Trump. Like, that just doesn't happen. Like, for me to get the PMI removed on my house, it had to go a certain time so that the value to loan ratio reached a certain point, or I could pay for someone to evaluate the property value to say that the property value had gone over a certain percentage to remove the PMI. So, like, I don't know where this idea is out in the world that, like, just because Trump told the bank the place was worth $500 million, that they just were like, well, we'll take your word for it. We're not going to do any due diligence before we give you a bunch of money. Like, it's the most ludicrous thing in the world. And then this judge is like, oh, it's only worth $18 million. Like, how fucking big is this place? Like, let me see if I can find the size. I mean, it's a 62,000 square foot mansion that's been converted to a club. How many acres is it on? I mean, it's directly on the ocean. Let me... Assessed by Palm Beach as having a county having a value from 18. I mean, yeah, whatever. Trump's 427th. Like, that's a big difference. But I mean, let's see. Let's see if we can find the acreage. Mar-a-Lago acres. It's 215 acres. No, it's 20 acres. It's 20 acres. Good Christ. Not to mention all that they probably had to do for the Secret Service to get, like, to make it, like, usable. Like, there's no way it's $18 million. And I just don't get this thought that, like, the banks are just like, we'll just take your word for it. Yeah, my house is worth $3 million. I want a fucking big loan. God. All right, let's move on to funner things. NXT on Tuesday was bumping. John Cena, Cody Rhodes, Biker Taker showed up. Braun Breaker sounds exactly like Scott Steiner. I know that's his uncle and Rick Steiner's his dad, but Jesus, he just sounds like a Steiner. That was cool. I liked it just when Taker comes back now. He's Biker Taker. I'd been hoping for it for years. It's too bad we didn't get to see Biker Taker when he was in a little bit better like physical condition. We've only got him when he's pretty rough now, watching him. Like, and credit to Braun Breaker for selling the fuck out of that chokeslam. Like, that's all on the dude taking it. And at this point, yeah, I don't think Taker's doing much, but goddamn, Braun Breaker sold the fuck out of that. Speaking of fighting and entertainment, there was just an awful boxing card. KSI and Tommy Fury, and then Logan Paul and Dylan Dennis. Like, I didn't watch it. Thank God. I read Twitter. It sounded like a fucking disaster. Dylan Dennis is fucking trying fucking jiu-jitsu moves. Tommy Fury's beating fucking KSI in a disputed fucking decision. And then he's like, oh, I'm the king of this crossover shit. Congrats, man. You beat fucking Jake Paul and KSI. Like, you're supposed to be an actual boxer. Like, fucking congrats. Congrats. I beat the 6-year-olds at the golf course too. Like, woo! Like, Jesus Christ. How about this stat? I saw this on Dan Le Batard. I saw a clip. I don't watch Dan Le Batard. Let's make that clear. But Tom Brady never took a snap when his team was eliminated from playoff contention. Like in the regular season. Like, they were never, ever eliminated. I think they made the playoffs every year too. But, obviously. So that was crazy. Let's end with these two. First of all, made some homemade chicken sandwiches, deep fried chicken, hot honey, Kaderi Brown, delicious. I think her TV show is Delicious Mrs. Brown or something like. She's got a show on Food Network, and she made her own hot honey fried chicken sandwich with pimento cheese after Chick-fil-A made theirs. So we tried it. Tried to heat the oil up on my Blackstone so I didn't have to do it in the house. And got one of those tins, those disposable tins. Could not get it warm enough, so it was no good. So fucked up a couple pieces of chicken. Finally had to come inside. Got it right though. When we came inside and did it on the stove, just had to stink the house up a little bit. Was muy delicioso. Couple of chicken breasts. Ended up slicing in half because they were long, so double stacked them with pimento cheese on the top and bottom of a nice toasted bun. Chef's kiss. So the trials and tribulations were real. The roommate was there with me, helping me figure it out, because I was really hoping I didn't have to muck up my inside and have the oil splattering and stinking up the whole place. But we did, and it worked out. So it was delicious when we finally got there. And we'll leave you with this. Michael Mann has confirmed his next project will be Heat 2. So I hope to God that comes true, because Heat is awesome. All right, let's go wrap this up. Closing time, everybody. As always, I just want to, say a big thank you to everybody who's hanging out, watching, listening, sharing, commenting, subscribing, all those good things. But again, I appreciate all you guys so much. Thank you. Appreciate it. To the end of the year, like I always say, I'm having a blast with this. Hope you guys are having some fun too. A big thanks to Troy and Hunter, Tman and Hman, the Gordon brothers, for coming on and joining me, talking a little hockey, talking a little Phillies, talking a little Eagles, a little bit of everything there this week. And as always, huge thanks to producer Kevy, gets this thing edited up for us. So thank you very much to him as always. Back next week, more football, more baseball to talk about as well too, hopefully. And may have a guest again. We'll just have to make sure everything works out. So hopefully we see y'all again next week. Till then, peace.